Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor and I help people navigate through their spiritual awakening process. And this video is just going to share 9 different tips to make you more awesome at manifesting stuff, manifesting that which you want in your life. I'm sure a lot of you have watched the movie The Secret, and perhaps if you were like me, realize the limitations of merely thinking your thoughts into reality. That, in a sense, is a simplified way of explaining something that can and does occur, but there's more to it. It's more of a complex process than just simply thinking good thoughts that you want, obviously. So this is just going to be a video of 9 different tips that I've learned and actually put into practice and seen actual physical results in my life that I really believe will resonate and help you. So the first one is to write your ideas down. A lot of real old, wise people throughout history have carried small notebooks or have had some means of jotting down their ideas because they knew the value. They could recognize a divine insight, a divine download, an inspired train of thought that we're busy people. Oftentimes they come and we're like in the middle of something, and even though it seems like, oh yeah, I'll remember that, we forget it. They kind of come and go. But if you have your little handy dandy notebook, you just jot them down. I did this every day. I spent time trying to get into my zone and write down these ideas. It's very, very powerful. Just the mere act of writing something down is symbolic of ground. It's like a big step forward in grounding this divine ephemeral sort of energy and idea into the physical. Number 2 is to focus on one thing at a time, because the more energy you can put into something, the faster it can happen. And sometimes we can have conflicting agendas. Like, I'd like to be really I'm not feeling my best. I can't think of a good analogy, but I've had this in my life where, again, I've wanted multiple things, but the timing was not right. Some of the things I really wanted were way off in the distance, and yet I was putting energy into them. And because I was doing that, it was sort of interfering with something I also wanted more in the present that was more relevant for me. This thing in the future had nothing to do with this thing in the present, and it was sort of like conflicting. So it's really good to really hone your focus on what do I really want now and sort of in the short term. It's good to have long-term goals, but be more flexible and, again, put all your energy and focus into that one thing. Get it, and then move on to the next. You'll just see it. You'll just see synchronicities will start to appear as you focus on something. And the more you can focus on one thing, the faster you can make it and ground it into your reality. And then, again, you can use that same laser-like focus into the next thing you want. Number 3, this is something The Secret never told us, is expect to run into problems first. So it's like, I want a new house and a red Ferrari. Great. That's what I want. And I'm going to expect it to sort of come into my life as I continue to think about it, make vision boards, focus on it, take action towards it, etc. But what's going to happen, the things that the most efficient way to bring this into fruition is to first weed out, purge out all the inner conflicts, all the inner beliefs, the misaligned energies that are in direct opposition to that what you want. So a lot of times you say, I want something. It feels good. You feel confident in the moment, but then all you get is a bunch of problems, a bunch of doubt. You start to wonder, is this even possible? And then life sort of happens in a way to really make you believe, no, this is unlikely. Screw this stupid idea. But it felt so real. Life, your higher self, is just bringing to your attention, again, obstacles that you previously have been unaware of, and now you gotta become aware of it first and then deal with it, and then you'll be more free to flow towards that thing. But it can seem like, wow, I really want this, and yet it just doesn't seem likely because all I'm running into is problems. That's a good thing. That's progress. Number 4, learned this the hard way, is sometimes what you think you want is not what you actually want. And what can happen is if you really focus on something that really not wrong or invalid, but not in alignment with the path you came to walk, you'll start to get synchronicities and even shown actual experiences of how this thing you're asking for carries with it a lot of associated experiences and symptoms that you don't want. You start to realize that even though that thing would be nice, all that would need to happen, all you'll have to go through and maybe let go of to get there, it's not worth it, and therefore it's not something you really want. I had this last winter when I realized I wanted to be on YouTube. I've known that for a long time, but I really felt like it's time, man. It's time to get myself out there. And I also really felt strongly about coming out to California. And it was expensive. At that time, I was like closing down my gym and I had no real income, was sliding into debt. So my conclusion, and this is after I was all hyped up from watching The Secret, was to manifest some lottery winnings. Life is magical. I've seen that. I've witnessed miracles. My awakening has blown my mind on more than one occasion, as I'm sure it has yours. So why the hell not? It really seems limitless. Whatever I think of and whatever I focus on will happen. Well, I started building momentum towards the lottery big time. I was getting synchronicities, getting like downloads of numbers to play. I'd get pretty freaking close. It was just everywhere I'd see lottery, play, 777. It just became like really in my face. But then a lot of other problems started to happen. I realized that I was not really, it just didn't work out. I just started to run into these weird, again, situations that I sensed were associated with that goal of mine. These other things that were happening were not ideal for me. And I also just sort of gotten the hint, synchronicities that were leading me to believe that you have this YouTube goal. You really want to help share and help people. But if you just win the lottery, you're not going to do that. You're not going to go through the growth experiences that you need to go through that would order to put you in a position where you're actually going to be helpful to other people, and it's just not your path. And I just started to kind of sense that and whatnot. So be open and flexible and not too stubborn, because I was pretty stubborn there for a while, and I really felt like I was insisting on something that was not in alignment for me, and it got so close feeling, and it also felt so wrong. And yet I felt like I put so much momentum into it that I didn't know how to turn it off. I couldn't stop seeing lottery synchronicities. Other things wouldn't stop breaking down, even though I was like, no, I don't want this. So be careful with what you're asking for, and be flexible and acknowledge maybe what you want today. You'll change your mind 6 months from now and realize it's not what you really wanted at all. And just be honest with yourself. Number 5, just to act fast. A lot of times we want something. We have a vision for ourselves, and we get little ideas and downloads, and even like the next step to take we can see. And to get from here to there, it might be a lot of little steps, a lot of little things we have to do, but we can really easily stall and try to overanalyze and rationalize and think about every little step we have to take. Is this right? Maybe this, and just like, we can just get in our head too much, and we just delay it. We're inevitably going to take that next step that we feel guided to do anyway. So why not cut to the chase and just freaking jump? Don't even so essentially, this tip is saying don't think so much. Act more impulsively on your intuitions, and you will speed up the manifestation process considerably. Number 6 is stay incredibly Bruce Lee-like and fluid and flexible. Don't insist on how you're going to get this thing you want. It's going to oftentimes come in very unexpected ways. There'll be things you're going to feel guided to do that will seem unrelated and yet are perfectly in sync with the path. And if you allow yourself to just give up your trust, just give up your will to control things and trust your intuition, and just sort of blindly, in a sense, blindly follow what your heart is telling you to do, regardless of what your mind has to say, it will seem incoherent and disharmonious, but really it's just a degree of brilliance that the mind cannot comprehend, and it really is efficient if you just can do it. But when we insist on things must happen a certain way, a lot of times, like really, when I wanted to go to California, I wanted to get to California and I wanted to be able to afford it. So my linear, very simplified mind said, well, I must win the lottery for that to happen. There's no other way that could ever possibly happen. And basically, it was a messy time for myself, very dark and crazy ass time that I wouldn't want to go through again. There were other ways, obviously. Here I am. Number 7 is question your doubts. If you really want something that's good for you and right for you and is a future projection of yourself, an ideal version of yourself, an ideal life situation, one of those things that I mentioned before that's going to come up, that's going to be perceived as a block or a problem or an issue, are your doubts. Maybe you can't handle it. And it's oftentimes very subtle the way these doubts are. It's not that you think consciously, I won't be able to handle the success. But you just have that feeling of trepidation and doubt of not wanting to go forward. You know, it just, that energy can be very powerful and very stifling and can really influence your behavior if you let it. But if you choose to always remind yourself that doubt is bullshit. Doubt is not you. Ever. Never, never, never. You will never make a right decision out of doubt. Your right decision comes from the inspiration, from following your passion. But you're going to run into a lot of this doubt, and at the time it's going to seem very real, and at the time it's going to really seem like it's just going to, I don't know. So you question it. So why do I feel this way? What is it that makes me feel I can't do this next thing or handle this or whatever the doubt you suspect pertains to? And oftentimes, if you just start to analyze it even a little bit, you'll see that this doubt, this energy is founded on, it's got a rocky foundation. It doesn't have any legs to stand on, this doubt. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And as you start to see it, you're kind of like, say, this doubt doesn't need to be here. And then you have a much easier time of going forward in spite of the doubt, when you realize that the doubt is probably just some sort of manifestation of an old experience, an old failed attempt that really has no relevance in the present moment at all. And but sometimes you have to sort of psych your brain up and explain to yourself that this doubt doesn't really mean anything. We can see now on paper it doesn't make much sense. So in light of that, we are going to go forward, because the doubt, if left unchecked, can really start to cloud and distort your thinking, and you can make it become rational reasons why maybe you shouldn't go forward. But if you start to question it, that capability of your doubt energy to manifest as thoughts, it lessens it, and you can say, even despite this doubt, I know this is the right thing to do, and I'm going to do it. Number 8 is to write a daily to-do list the night before. This is more short-term manifestation. This works well for me in my YouTube, like what I do now, basically. So what I'll do is I'll write out sort of specifically, this is not my actual to-do list, but I'll write out a specific to-do list. Like I'll say, tomorrow I'm gonna shoot 3 awesome videos, and it helps. And the way that a lot of really highly successful and influential people do this, specifically at night, and they do it because it's just sort of giving, acknowledging the time lag we have here on Earth, that it's not instant manifestation. We're not in, it's not like that now. Things take time. And if you plant those seeds at night, you give your higher self time to sort of like organize itself all behind the scenes. Then you wake up the next day and you just have it's more, the idea of actually me shooting those 3 videos is more grounded. There's more like, I'm going to align my behavior and thinking and everything, my life, naturally to accommodate those goals I set for myself. It just helps them sink in better. Just give it a try. I can't tell you why it works. I just gave you my explanation why I suspect it works, but give it a try. It's a very powerful technique. Write your to-do list the night before. 9, I use these with my coaching clients, and I only recommend you do it if you know exactly what you want. Because again, sometimes you put something out there and it's not what you want, and things can get a little bit nutty. That's what happened with me in the lottery, as I mentioned. But use positive or daily affirmations. The way I do these is I say an affirmation in the present tense, like when I wanted to move to California, I didn't say I want to move I didn't say I want to move to California, because that sort of keeps it always in the future. I'm going to manifest the want to move to California. Rather, I would say, I live in California and the sun is shining and I love it. I live in California and the sun is shining and I love it. I would say the very loud, looking deep into my eyes in the mirror with conviction, with confidence in the present tense. And that is the way to really streamline what you want. Your life will start showing you and revealing to you that, hey, you're putting this out there. And then you get to analyze that's something I really want. But they really work very well, very efficiently, especially now, man. Now the energies, it's like with the fourth density energies, building in concentration, you could say, day by day by day. These sort of spiritual techniques that people have been using for quite a while, these manifestation techniques, they've always kind of worked, but now they work really well, really fast, and you realize how pliable your reality is when you work with the law of attraction. So hopefully these 9 tips will help you guys. It's my goal, my wish for you, that you guys are able to manifest whatever you want in life, manifest to life your dreams, and again, hopefully these will help you guys. So that's all I have. My throat's getting sore. I'm a bit under the weather today, so hopefully I'll feel better soon. But regardless, you'll be hearing from me tomorrow in another video. Until then, have an amazing day. Namaste.